I realised I wanted to be a designer probably when I was about 15, I think. Yeah, it was just something I did in my spare time, something I could do in my bedroom. Didn't come out right. I grew up in a small village in Hertfordshire, just north of London. It wasn't on the design map at all. It was just a suburban place where not really much happened. It was more about, having very decorative things in your home, or mock Tudor, mock Georgian English style in the 1970s. I think I must have been 16 or 17. I was doing an A-level in design and technology, and you could pretty much set your own project. And I decided to do I don't know whether it's a tent ruck or a RUCKTENT. I don't know what to call it, but it was a rucksack that could convert into a one-man tent. It's pretty embarrassing to look back on it. It wasn't a good design, but it was fun to do. I had a good teacher at school who called the local press, so I was in a local newspaper, photographed, and I felt like a designer for the first time. The CM01 chair was the chair I designed at the Royal College of Art, and I just set myself some very strict minimalist principles. Everything had to be square, as little material as possible, and I just worked with very strict geometry and made a nice lightweight chair, which I presented at my degree show. Thankfully, Jasper Morrison came to that degree show, and he saw my chair and told me that he thought he could get it produced at an Italian producer. I have to say I was really interested in his work. Even the family cat was called Jasper, so my whole family knew about my interest in his work, and I became his assistant for almost 1 year. So I thought perhaps I'd succeeded and started to become a proper designer, but I hadn't. So the Bierke tray table was a product I designed for IKEA, I think in 1999. And by this point I'd moved to Sweden to take a job with Thomas Sandell. So I was working in his office, and he kindly gave me a lot of responsibility with IKEA. I went for a very simple geometry with the Bierke tray table. It's a round tray, which is the perfect shape for a tray. It locates onto a round top, and at the base is a square plate. Square because then you can have a wheel in each corner. Just gives it another level of practicality. It was a popular product at IKEA, and it was even on the front cover of the catalogue. Millions of people got to see it, literally millions. And it didn't have my name attached to it, but I realised that I could do things that people wanted. That signalled the start of my IKEA years, as I call them. Shared an office with Magnus Ellerbeck, so we were both working together as designers for IKEA for maybe 10 years or so. MÄSTERBY is another significant design, I'd say, in my career. It's nice because Bierke was probably my first IKEA product and MÄSTERBY was my last. And this was an updated version of their classic wooden version in a new material, wood plastic composite. So it's a mixture of wood fibres and plastic. looks like it's jumping forwards, or almost as if it shouldn't work. It's kind of daring construction to it that's only manageable through the strength of the material. And I based the design pretty much on a stackable chair. Yeah, a nice project to end on, and it made it to the front cover of the IKEA catalogue, which seemed kind of fitting. It's like I'd come full circle with my IKEA years. I remember at the time thinking, why would anyone want a chair in metal wire? I didn't realise that it would be a big turning point in my career. And I always think about how something is going to be made, and that kind of steers the design, at least to some extent. I kind of think of it a bit like a football term, which is to let the ball do the work, which means just playing a clever pass with the ball instead of, running around like crazy. You play the ball into space and achieve what you want to do. And I think working with machinery or production and letting that define the design is a clever way to do it. And that's what I try to do. Magnus booked a space at the Stockholm Furniture Fair. I was driving around Poland talking to factories, and we had I think it was like a 6-month deadline to get it ready for a launch. That's how we started Mass Productions. That was in 2009. So yeah, there I was with Magnus, and we'd launched our own furniture company, and we had a nice product to show that people wanted. I thought, once again, maybe I'm a designer. And yeah, actually, this time I was.